After what seems like an eternity of waiting, it's finally here, my most anticipated show of 2022, 1899. The show, of course. It's finally on Netflix, and it's really good. Or at least the first episode so far has been. I know you clicked on this video to see my full review of the season, and that's exactly what I'm gonna be doing, but I want to do this review a little bit differently. See, I'm writing and recording this after I've just finished the first episode. I haven't even seen the others yet. So these are going to be my raw thoughts and emotions going through each episode, my thoughts and theories as to what's coming next, and then after it's all said and done, I'll make a section on theories for a second season. If there even is any, I don't know yet. So I'm going to be going episode by episode, giving my thoughts and what I liked and my predictions as to what's coming next. And if you're watching this having seen the whole thing, then you can laugh at my predictions knowing that what I'm saying is probably very wrong. I've been wanting to do this type of review for a long time. I don't really know if it'll work or be entertaining at all, but I figured I'd try it out with 1899 just to see how it does. If you want to listen to my rambling thoughts on each episode, then prepare for that, but I'm going to leave a time card so that way you can skip to my actual review of the entire show. I don't know when that'll be or how long this video is going to turn out, but whatever that time is, it's on the screen right now. Alright, if you want to take this journey with me and listen to me ramble like a madman, here we go. Let's watch 1899. So right away, this episode gave me the feeling I had when a new season of Dark came out, and it was a feeling I didn't even know I had, but regardless, a feeling that I missed a lot. So obviously the series is going to draw a lot of comparisons to Dark, and I don't think that's a bad thing by any means. It's very clear right from the get-go that this is a spiritual successor to Dark because they do share a lot in common. The music is reminiscent of Dark, but it also stands on its own. I heard hints of 80s synth to some tracks that reminded me of Blade Runner. But right when the episode starts, you can tell that our show's brilliant creators were given a much bigger budget. The effects are incredibly well done and definitely a step up from Dark, which already had great effects. There's no better way to see this than with the opening title sequence, which I'm sure is explaining the plotline a little bit, but it all seems like a bunch of nonsense to me right now. All I can gather is that there's some little boy facing off against what looks like a giant monster. No clue, that's probably wrong, but that'll be a trend you see a lot in this video. We're getting a lot of different plot lines set up in this episode, again, very similar to Dark, and I'm excited to see where they all go. We have our main character, Maura Franklin, who is certainly not crazy, even though the opening scene was in a psych ward, but the scene also confuses me. I'm not sure if this was in the past or in the future, because she was talking to her father about her brother, who was on the missing ship, the Prometheus, but she also said that she can't remember anything, so her father, Qyburn, must have done something to her memory. This makes me think that it's in the future, but she also wakes up on the ship with marks around her wrist, making me think that that was in the past. She also has flashes of what I can only assume is the future because we saw the flash of the bug already come true, but I guess we'll see in future episodes. We have tons of other plot lines being set up as well, though this episode was primarily focused on Maura. The captain, played by Dark alum Andreas Pikeman, who speaks English in this one, goes to look for the Prometheus against the better wishes of everyone else on board. Why is that? We're not clear, but I'm fairly certain his family was on the Prometheus, given that he finds something on board that he recognizes, and he asked Maura if she knew anybody on board. But what really intrigues me is how Maura and the captain, I don't quite know his name yet, both received the same envelope, so I'm not too sure what this could mean just yet. We have the coal miner named Oleg and this guy who was hidden on the ship named Jerome. Now, my first theory is that Jerome was on the Prometheus and he somehow got teleported onto our ship. How, why, I don't quite know just yet. But he was absolutely starving, and a main point made about the Prometheus was that there might not be any survivors because of the food. There's the young couple, the guy's name is Lucien, and I didn't quite catch the girl's name yet, but they seem to have had an arranged marriage that is not going well, and Lucien didn't want to go off course because now they're arriving late to New York, which upsets him for some reason. Also, Lucian is Frenchie from The Nun. Go check out my Conjuring Universe video, after this one, of course. There's the people in the bottom of the ship, the pregnant girl, the guy with the scarred face, and the little girl. And the most intriguing aspect of this plotline so far is the mother of the pregnant girl said that this was God's baby, and I don't quite know what to make of that, but I'm sure it's important. We have the Japanese women who seem to be hiding their identities for some reason, as well as the brothers, one of whom is a fake priest. One thing I've noticed all these characters have in common is that they're all running from something. Their past lives, someone, or maybe something, all except for Mora and the captain, who are actively searching for something. Just something interesting I noticed. Don't know if that's important or maybe if it's just thematic for story purposes. I guess we'll see. And that's about it for episode 1. Oh wait, this little boy. There's no one else on the ship seemingly, but there is this little boy who gives Mora a little black pyramid, which I'm sure will have something to do with the giant black pyramid we saw in the beginning of the episode. We also saw this guy from Dunkirk get on the ship and put a little bug under the door that could unlock the room directly next to Mora's. I'm thinking that this is her lost brother, but it could also be just the body of her brother and something else is possessing him. I don't know, something like that. There are so many different possibilities right now. Alright, that's episode 1. Now let's get on with episode 2, The Boy. So we start the episode off with Jonas back in Winden. The captain having a nightmare, flashback to his family getting burned in a house fire. He holds onto the article he got from the Prometheus, so now I have even more questions. If his family actually did get killed in the fire, or if they were on the ship, or maybe at least one person was on the ship. I'm certainly thinking that this episode is going to be focusing more on the captain. Maybe I'll even learn his name. We also get some of the co-workers talking about how the people on the ship could have died, and they talk about how it could have been the people, or maybe a great giant wolf. One of them says that the boy might be the giant wolf. This certainly seems to be setting up some sort of supernatural monster and mystery, but this could definitely be misdirection as well. Dark did the exact same thing in the second episode of season 1, but I'm certainly leaning towards some big giant supernatural monster. There's also a painting of the big wolf later on in the episode, so again, could be misdirection or could be a hinting at something greater. I got a better look at the opening title sequence this time around, and it seems that there's some kind of sickness spreading through the passengers, but the boy isn't getting infected, and he faces against the giant monster, so this boy could very well be their best chance of survival, or their doom. That's yet to be seen. The people in the bottom of the ship seem to be better and more genuine people, and we see a priest giving some people some actual hope while the fake priest sleeps in his quarters upstairs. And also, my first prediction is wrong. This guy isn't in fact Mora's brother, he's some guy named Daniel Salas. But she does say that she recognizes him from somewhere, perhaps from the past or future, whichever it is that Mora is seeing. Maybe it's both, or maybe time doesn't work linearly like I'm thinking, or maybe it still is her brother, I don't know. This green lady certainly likes to be in other people's businesses. She seems to have some kind of larger plan, but she's definitely giving me Cersei Lannister vibes. Now, it seems as though the people from the Prometheus, if that is indeed where Jerome comes from, have a job to do. What that job is, I have no idea, but Jerome is looking for Lucian, and it certainly seems that Daniel is trying to get Mora for one reason or another. We also learn that everyone is doubting the captain because his wife set their house on fire and killed all of their kids too. And also, his name is Ike. The thing he found belonged to his daughter Nina, but if she's dead, why was it on that ship? And now, I don't think that Mora is crazy, but Ike certainly might be. Or if my theory about the sickness is correct, maybe he's the first one experiencing symptoms from it. He also sees the same bug that Daniel has from the Prometheus, so could these bugs be transferring some kind of sickness around? We're also seeing this symbol around quite a bit. The boy has a tattoo of it on his neck, and it's on the letters that were sent to Mora and Ike, and it's on what I can only call the trap door that leads to nowhere, or to Ike's house. Definitely going to be seeing more of that, I'm sure. It's also on the carpet that Daniel sets his bug onto. And now Daniel lures this little girl to her death, and Ike thinks that it has something to do with the Prometheus, which it does. Okay, end of episode. Wait. What in the hell is going on here? Someone's watching them? From where? For what? How are there cameras of such nice cinematic quality on this ship? Okay, throw all my theories out the window. I knew that this would happen at some point, where the entire story was going to be changed or something unexpected would happen, but I definitely didn't see this coming, whatever this even is. I don't know. Okay, next episode. Alright, so third episode in, and I'm noticing that every single episode starts off with a nightmare of the past, so I'm rescinding my thought about the first episode with Mora seeing the future. I now believe that was her past, but someone always says wake up to our characters even when their eyes are already open. So who is this person? Does it have anything to do with the ending of the last episode? And what's the significance of their eyes being open? And now the opening credit song is getting stuck in my head. This credit sequence is absolutely amazing. So now we're getting some answers about the Green Lady and also Ling Yi and her mother and what's going on in this whole scenario. I'm a big fan of the whole taking one character per episode and focusing on them primarily, just like The Haunting of Hill House and Lost did. The more I think about it, the more and more that this show is actually giving me Lost vibes. Also, some sort of mutiny is definitely starting to form against the captain. The pyramid is definitely this show's version of the time machine in Dark. I can't wait to see what this thing does when it's not under a bed. And now Ike seems to be telling Mora everything about his life, so why isn't she telling him anything in return? He told her about the letter and his family, but she's still guarded. Why? We, as an audience, know more about Ike than we do about Mora, our protagonist. Is this done on purpose? I'm gonna assume it is. It also seems that Ling Yi is our next character being affected by this form of the sickness. In this episode, though, it seems like it's the fog, but it also seems to be targeting her. The only other direct person we've seen affected is Ike, and both of these characters have dark and traumatic pasts, so is the sickness affecting people with dark pasts, like Dementors? So the boy and Daniel are in league together, but what exactly are they looking for? Now there's more dead people, but I'm questioning if this is real or if the guard is being affected by the sickness now too. Oh, just kidding about Ike being open with Mora about things. This is a give and take system, my friend. If you don't tell him anything about yourself, he's gonna notice that and stop telling you things. I'm with Ike on this one. And now Lucien has a letter too? Are the people from the Prometheus targeting people with letters for some reason? And the very next scene, the Green Lady has a letter. Does everyone on the ship have a letter? What's going on with Lucien? My first thought is that he's turning into a big giant wolf. Just kidding, I think. What was it that he drank? Was it Wolf's Bane, perhaps? I don't actually think he's gonna be a werewolf, but I do love werewolves, so honestly, I'm all for it. Yep, definitely a mutiny. Also, I didn't bring this up in the last episode, but there's action in the show. Small action, but action nonetheless. And I really don't think that there was any action scenes in Dark at all, and I'm just now realizing that. Alright, well now we know why Ike was keeping secrets from Mora, again, still on his side, and now who in the hell is Mora actually? Is Mora even her real name? Daniel was questioning her name because it isn't Irish, and she says that she isn't, so is this not actually Mora Franklin? Is it someone else? And once again, what in the hell is that ending? Alright, on with the next one. Well, I just talked about fighting in the last episode, and if the title is anything to go off of, I bet you we're going to see a little bit more of that in this episode. And alright, we know why Jerome is looking for Lucien, and I no longer think that he was on board the Prometheus. Also, the guard's name is Franz, I just learned, and tons more people are dying. I believe what you saw is real now, Franz. So is no one going to talk about how the Prometheus just disappeared behind them? Oh, you're talking about that in this scene? Okay, never mind then. And now back to the God's baby plotline. Was this baby immaculately conceived? Is she giving birth to Anakin Skywalker? Sorry, Jesus? And okay, I guess the vial wasn't Wolfsbane, and I'm not too sure if I like Lucien or hate him. I don't know if I'm supposed to. I guess we'll see. Okay, nope, I definitely hate him. Now there's more talk of werewolves and even vampires. I really think that this is just a bit of comedic relief, but now I want to see a show about werewolves and vampires from Baran Bo Adar. Crester's just trying to live his life and make everyone happy. I feel bad for the dude. I really hope the next episode is about him and hope we see more of his history. That or Clemence, who I just feel equally bad for, but I'm definitely rooting for her and Jerome because Lucien just ain't the guy. No, not Jerome! Oh, okay, he's alive, and he's a total badass. He's also infected by the sickness now, so I wonder how all of this and the other infected people are gonna be affected later on. Yep, there's an actual fight, and there's absolutely no way that this boy is actually dead. Yep, I knew it. Overall, a good episode, didn't leave us on a huge WTF cliffhanger like the previous two did, but the plot is certainly moving ahead at a great pace, and I'm excited for more. Alright, interesting. We're not getting a Crester or Clemence episode, but we are getting another Mora episode, so hopefully this episode clears some questions that I have. Mora's father has something to do with the ships. I don't think that was said in the first episode, or maybe it was and I just missed it, but that's very interesting. Alright, now we're getting into the freaky supernatural sci-fi stuff. I'm assuming the kid and his pet pyramid did this, but I could be wrong. Now, what is this siren? The captain doesn't seem too worried about it. And also, I was just thinking about this, but what are the coal workers doing right now? Are they just chilling down there while everything else is happening above them? Are they like Switzerland in this whole debacle? Okay, what is this zombie march happening here? I'm guessing that this is gonna be some sort of way to get rid of all the red shirts, but Crester and Ling Yi's mother are part of this march, so where's everyone headed? Oh, alright, they're going overboard. Even Crester, oh man. What kind of sickness is this, and what is the ticking clock? The boy speaks, finally. Now, who's the creator? Yeah, I bet you'll miss your son so much now, huh? Don't you, lady? This is getting weirder and weirder by the minute, and I absolutely love it.
Welcome, Harry, to Diagon Alley.
The boy and Daniel are super interesting. I'm sure that they're going to make a rewatch of this show very fun, but as of right now, I just have no idea what's going on between them. Aha, Daniel is from the future. I feel like I probably should have guessed that, but I didn't, so I'll take the L and let's move on. Is this an endless cycle? Is this just dark again? Interesting. Some answers from Mora for once. And I guess the bugs open all kinds of different doors. Damn, how many people are on this ship? They're still going overboard? Now this guy's in on it, whatever it is. I bet you this guy, don't know his name, but I bet you he's with Mora's father and Daniel and the boy are working against her father. I'm also back on the train of Daniel being Mora's brother because Mora seemingly has like no memories of the past or like anything, and Daniel cares a lot about Mora it seems, so unless she's the chosen one or something like that, she must be his sister. Yep, he's definitely working with Mora's father and Daniel and the boy are against him. Overall, a really good and eventful episode, probably the best one so far. Answers a lot of questions and presents quite a few more, but I can definitely start to see the direction the story is heading in. At least I think I see it, but I could definitely probably be wrong. Alright, with a title like this, I'm definitely expecting some answers and some big reveals. Here we go. Ah, Torv episode. Definitely not what I was expecting, but oh no, I can already see where this backstory is heading. And I was still right, all the red shirts are gone and now it's just the main characters. Alright, now it looks like the sickness is starting to take physical form, and it looks an awful lot like the opening credits, and if I saw it, my first thought would definitely not be to touch it. That's an awful idea. If Daniel is saying it's a bad idea, I'm gonna guess it's pretty bad. Go Clemence for ditching the dress and putting on some pants. You can't really expect me to believe that all of this is actually under the ship, right? Green Lady touching the stone gave me the biggest jump scare I've had in years, and now the opening title sequence makes a bit more sense. Whatever this sickness is, it definitely feeds off of negative emotions, fear, grief, sadness, so it really is just a giant dementor. Ah, so that's how Crester got his face disfigured. I really don't trust this guy at all. He's like the Qyburn to Cersei, except he's the Qyburn to Qyburn himself. I'm not gonna show the Tove scene, but man, this show got dark real fast. I can already see t-shirts and mugs and posters and everything with this phrase on it. Damn it, not her brother, but her husband. I'm giving myself at least partial credit because I was pretty close. Wait, so it is part of the ship? Like some sort of augmented reality thing? Oh man, now he's on the Prometheus, and there's tons of these different ships. Another great episode. Things are definitely starting to come together. Let's get on with the next one. Is this the Daniel episode I've been waiting for? It definitely is. Everyone's gonna die again? This really is just an endless cycle, isn't it? Oh, right. I took a break over the weekend and now I completely forgot that Green Lady touched the sickness. It looks like she's got grayscale now. I know someone who could possibly help out with that. Just think about it all as a bad dream. So is none of this actually real? Is it happening inside someone's head, like a simulation? I'm really not too sure how I feel about that. This smartphone looking thing is so out of place in this show. It's actually really funny to look at. Good for Tove, finally telling off her mother like that. This whole ship is just deteriorating and it's so trippy, I love it. Also, why is the picture of the Statue of Liberty here? Who is Oleg, really? Yep, I'm convinced if you're in the engine room, you just have no clue what's going on outside. I really couldn't imagine being in Daniel's shoes. Trying to fix something and not having your wife remember you while she's going after some other guy, that just really sucks. Ah, so this is inside of the pyramid. And the boy is their son. His name is Elliot. Again, I feel like I should have seen that one coming. Not the Elliot part, but the son part for sure. So I guess this is just one big family drama, just like Dark. Please just remember him more for the love of God. Oh, thank God. Oh no. Ah, and this is just a simulation. Well, like I said, not too sure how I feel about that, but I'm sure other people are gonna absolutely love it or absolutely hate it. No in between. The green lady's name is Virginia. Finally figured it out. So does Mora's brother just not matter anymore? Does she even have a brother? Also, if this is a simulation, why should I care about any of these people anymore? I'm really not seeing any reason why I should. See, I'd care about Oleg dying right here, but I don't anymore. I probably wouldn't care about this death either way, if I'm being honest. This dude sucked. And Franz dying is sad, especially how he died, but again, this is a simulation, so it doesn't matter. I'm still really unclear about what Mora's father's plan actually is, so hopefully that's what the next episode is about. So another episode down. I'm not sure if it's because I took a break over the weekend and that just kind of lost my momentum for engagement for the show, but I wasn't all too thrilled with this episode. Not what I expected for an episode about Daniel at least, and I am really just unsure as to why I should care about really anyone at this point if it's all just a simulation. Maybe that'll change with the revelation of Mora's father's plan, so let's get on with the finale. Okay, the bug now makes a bit more sense. Also, I'm just now realizing that my theories about there being some kind of supernatural monster are all completely wrong. I'm very sad now. And I should have known the last episode was going to be about the boy. Sorry, Elliot. Ah, okay, so the dad is also stuck in the same time loop. Things are making sense already. Ike going through some heartbreak learning who Daniel really is. See, now I feel bad for him too. So everyone got a letter, or at least everyone important got a letter, but how are these people important to a simulation? If it's not her father, then who is the creator? Ike is trying real hard to convince Mora that she's not actually married. I've never felt more claustrophobia for a scene ever. Well, maybe that one scene in Nope, but that's it.
This may hurt.
Yep. Qyburn is still Qyburn. Damn, for a kid who basically just had a blank stare for the entire runtime of the show, he's a pretty good actor. Now, I'm not sure if Mora's father is telling the truth or not, because what he's saying makes sense, and Mora has been a completely unreliable narrator for the duration of the show, so perhaps she is the bad guy. I like these unlikely pairings going around at different parts of the ship with memories that aren't theirs until they find something that does make sense to them. This is a really great scene. Ah, so it's a virus, not a sickness, but I'm still gonna give myself half credit on that one. And this virus does now look like some kind of monster, so another half point for me. I'm telling you, I think that Oleg has a much bigger part in this than we thought. Maybe he's Kieran. And Mora is the creator. How interesting. I'm really not sure who to root for here, Daniel or Mora's father. So Kieran is the bad guy. What's bigger than we think? I'm telling you, it's Oleg. Okay, so these other people are at least semi-important, and damn, Oleg isn't Kieran because he's right there. And now they've been in space the whole time aboard the Prometheus. How wonderful. In the year 2099, but there was 1899 people on board. Very clever. Yeah, people are not gonna like this ending at all. And that's 1899. I'm gonna take a break and collect my thoughts. I have a lot of them floating around right now, and then I'll give my actual review. But for you, that's gonna be right now. So right away, I want to say that this is probably going to be a recurring theme when you watch videos of people reviewing 1899, and that's going to be that they're going to compare it to Dark. I think that's only natural. It was Barenbo Odar's last show, and there's definitely some similarities between Dark and 1899, but at the end of the day, these are two very different shows. So I'm going to do my best to just simply talk about 1899 without drawing too many comparisons to Dark. Right away, the atmosphere of the show is incredibly well done. You see so many times that these characters are on a ship in the middle of nowhere, so it already gives you this kind of claustrophobic feeling. So you're stuck on this ship with the characters and the mystery at hand, and that's where 1899 really shines. These characters are all pretty well fleshed out, of course Mora and Ike being the standouts that easily get the most time. Even all of the side characters I found caring for or not caring for, but in a good way. I ended up not really liking Lucian or Angel, not because they were boring characters, but because of how they treated other people around them, and that is still the mark of a great and well-written character. But there are plenty of others like Jerome, Clemence, Daniel, Lingyi, Olek, and the boy that I ended up actually caring about. I know I said no comparisons to Dark, but I'm gonna do it just this one time. I think these characters had a lot more personality and spark than the characters of Dark did. Not to say the characters of Dark are bad, they're just completely different, and I think they tried to give the characters of 1899 something different about them, and that's something I very much appreciated. The structure of the episodes are fantastic and helps the pacing of the show at large, which is another one of 1899's strong suits. Focusing on one character primarily per episode is one of my favorite ways to structure episodes for a TV show. I know I said it before, but it reminds me of The Haunting of Hill House, and more specifically, Lost. There's quite a bit of similarities between Lost and 1899, more so than Dark in 1899, and I'll get more into that in just a little bit. I think far and away the most unique aspect of the show is its use of different languages. Having a show about a ship of immigrants from different histories and backgrounds all speak the same language wouldn't make any sense, and I think the blend of languages works very well for the most part. Of course, the characters on the ship all start meeting each other, and this is where the language barrier becomes an issue. I found myself having a hard time keeping track of who speaks what language and who can understand who. For a lot of the times, especially in the mid to later episodes, I didn't know if characters were having a conversation or if they were just trying to talk to the other person to get them to understand them. The mystery itself, for the first 6 episodes, is fantastic. We're asking question after question, but we're also getting some answers sprinkled throughout at a good pace. But for episodes 7 and 8, the mystery, I think, starts to cave in on itself just a bit. My biggest gripe about these episodes is not that it's a simulation or that they were actually in space the whole time, but it was the sequence of how it was revealed that it was a simulation. Daniel tells Mora that they're in a simulation, and the next scene we get 3 character deaths that I would have felt emotions to, but I didn't, because I just learned that none of this actually matters if it's not real. If this single conversation would have been placed even just after the deaths, it would have been so much better and I would have actually cared. But 1899 is a mystery box style of show, the same as Lost, The Leftovers, Twin Peaks, etc. These kinds of shows are certainly an acquired taste, and I for one am a huge fan of mystery box TV shows, but I think 1899 accentuates the biggest problems with the mystery box formula. Going into the show, people signed up for a show set in 1899 about 2 ships, one of them may be ghostly or strange, and a mystery with immigrant characters. But this show ends up taking place in a simulation in 2099 in space. Now, you can't tell the people who are going to watch the show what's really going on because it would ruin the twist, but it inherently sets the viewer up for disappointment because when you go in asking for one thing and given another, the viewer will most likely be disappointed. This was like when Lost introduced time travel and a lot more of the fantastical elements in seasons 4 to 6. They had planned for this, kinda, but it wasn't anything like what the viewer was used to, so they were disappointed with where the story went. Now, 1899 is not Lost, and I know that the show's creators have all of this mapped out, probably another 2 seasons. This wasn't just an attempt to get another season or anything like that, because Dark was carefully mapped out from the beginning, and Lost was being written as it went on, but both of these shows share the same negatives because they are both mystery box shows. Now, if 1899 does get a second season, it won't be about a ship set in that year, and it'll probably be about something else, maybe something in the future, and if people click on the show knowing that this show will eventually go to the future, then this twist will probably be more widely accepted. The same way that Westworld leaving the park has started getting more accepted, and how the time travel aspect in Lost is aging pretty well. But having to keep the giant Deus Ex Machina twists a secret from the viewer leads them to either be blown away with what they see, or put the remote down because it wasn't what they wanted. And that's the issue with the mystery box. If someone watched the show because they liked the time period, they probably aren't going to be watching a second season. If you're someone like myself who loves mystery set in all kinds of places, then you have me on board for season 2, but not everyone is going to have that mindset. Yes, I was a bit disappointed by the twist about it being set in space. It's not what I expected. As time goes on, this revelation will be less and less important in my mind, and if we get a second season, then I'll be doing another video like this. But for right now, the sting still burns, because I have to face the reality that a show about a ghostly ship is not what 1899 really is. So this leads me to my conversation about season 2, should there be one. I think I should bring up the fact that the show has been accused of plagiarism by a comic artist. I don't want to get too in-depth about it because ultimately this is a review of 1899 and not about that topic, but from what I've seen, I don't think it's too far of a stretch for two people to conceptualize a giant black pyramid and a character with a scar on their face. Is it just a giant coincidence? I feel like it is certainly a possibility that it is, and Baranbo Dar has gone on to say that he wasn't aware of the comic, so I'm inclined to believe him. But if there isn't a second season, I would say that this is probably the reason as to why. But what will a second season even be about? We were left with Mora surrounded by the people in the simulation and a text from her brother welcoming her to reality. Daniel says that Kieran has taken over since he was put in the simulation, and that this is so much more important than she realizes, but what does this even mean? What did Kieran take over? What is Kieran's plan? We don't know, and we have no hint of knowing at all. What was real from the simulation and what wasn't? Is Ike even this guy's real name? What are their professions? Why are they in space at all? My best guess comes from the final shot of the real Prometheus, where we see Mora in one of these simulation rooms, and how there's dozens if not hundreds more of these. All of these other containers of people could be living in a different simulation. I think season 2 would focus on Mora, Daniel, Elliot, and maybe a few other people going into different simulations trying to stop Kieran from achieving whatever it is he's trying to achieve. Maybe Mora's dad isn't even an actual bad guy at all, and he'll be helping them too. There's so many questions and so many possibilities because we really have no idea what
This is so much bigger than you think.
really means. But that's really just 1899. It's a mystery box TV show where its highlights are because of the mystery box, and its downfalls are also because of the mystery box. Alright, those are my complete thoughts, reactions, and review of 1899. Let me know down below what your thoughts are, what you enjoyed, what you didn't, if you want a second season, and what your theories are going forward. If you like this style of review, please let me know that. It was actually a lot of fun to write everything down and theorize and record as I'm watching the show. I took pages and pages of notes so that way I could share them, and it was a lot of work. So if you enjoyed, please hit that like button and subscribe for more content like this. If you do, then I'll see you in the next one.
Yeah.